Hey everyone, and welcome to my weekly check-in vlog where I take you along for the weekend to see how I'm doing and what I'm reading. My name is Wiebke, and this year I'm trying to get myself out of survival mode. And currently it doesn't feel like I'm doing so well on that, but it could just be November. Anyways, it's very early in the morning. You can see I have the headlights on and it's dark outside. We are a little bit of maybe 45 minutes short before sunrise, so dawn has started, but it's barely there. But I need to catch a train by 9, so I need to go running earlier and shorter than I normally would like on a Saturday, but I didn't want to skip running. I am currently listening to, or I barely started listening to, a love song for Ricky Wilde. It seems to be a dual narrative. I listened to the first chapter already, narrated by Ricky Wilde, set in 2023, and her family is rich and they became rich with funeral homes, but she doesn't really want to open a franchise or be part of the family business. She'd rather do something else. She's more dreamy and romantic, and she is really interested in the Harlem Renaissance. So when she gets the chance to open her dream flower shop in Harlem, she jumps right at it. And that's the first part I listen to. Then the narration shifts to a young man in 1923. I forgot his name. I'm not finished with that part yet, and I'm expecting to be alternating between those two narrations. But he's from the South, and his family was murdered by the Klan in a church fire, and he escaped to New York just now, and he's very good at the piano. I don't know if he's good at anything else. So I'm assuming it's going to be a time slip love story something, because it's called a love song for Ricky Wilde. And she never has experienced love, and she's not very optimistic to find love. So, but like I said, I barely started. I'm going to listen now on my run and then later on the train. And I'll talk to you later and tell you more about what else I'm reading and doing this weekend. On the way to the train station. There's a lot of people for Saturday morning. I don't know what's going on, but anyways. I am going to Bremen now, where I'm going to, jump into the car. My brother's going to pick me up there, and then we're going all the way to the North Sea to have grünkohl with my mother. And grünkohl sounds much better than kale. Kale sounds healthy. Grünkohl in northern Germany is not the healthy kale that everybody's eating. It's a traditional treat, and in grünkohl season, you genuinely have a lot of clubs going on tours for Kohl und Pinkel, which basically means you're going to have fun, drink a lot, eat a lot, and who eats longest or the most grünkohl is going to the grünkohl king. We're not going to do that. We're just going to have family dinner or lunch or whatever. Anyways, I'm surrounded in a world that's covered in frost. Let's have a look. It looks rather nice, doesn't it? So. Well, this took a turn to the awful and terrible. Time with my family was great, until I got back on the train on the last trip home. I hope you can even see me. It's very dark. I took one tram stop further to calm down because I got really anxious on the train. I don't know why. There was no reason for it. And I really don't know. I was listening to a love song for Ricky Wilde, and all of a sudden I was getting anxious. And the book is good. I don't even know why I'm supposed to get anxious about anything there. It's really interesting. I really like the ideas of these parallel stories, but I'm not really sure if there's a time slip that I expected, because she meets someone in the present who has the same name or is either a descendant of the same person than the guy in the past. I don't know. Anyways, I don't know what's going on. So I'm very anxious right now. Funnily, going home through a park in the dark doesn't make me anxious, which is the most ridiculous thing of all. I don't know what to do with the rest of the day. That's Sunday almost gone. I gave myself another sick day. I don't know if I mentioned this already, but Friday I called in sick at work and didn't do anything. I didn't have any to-dos. I was just catching up on things, reading, watching YouTube, watching movies, didn't even leave the house. And that's what I did today as well. After coming home yesterday and really not feeling well, I watched Live Free or Die Hard. Yes, I watched another Die Hard movie, and not one of the good ones. Well, it's a fun one, but I wouldn't call it one of the good ones. Anyways, I spent most of the weekend or recent days reading short stories in The Time Traveler's Passport. And yeah, if you can hear some sound in the background, I'm pretending I can cook. I don't know how that tastes. I'm prepared for it to taste awful. It was stuff that I had, stuff that needed to be prepared before it went off. And because I don't buy stuff after I check the recipe, I don't know what I did there. Anyways, I need to check up the names of the short stories because I got into the series as I saw that John Scalzi has a new short story out. 3 days, 9 months, and 27 years. And I read that and I loved it. It's all about a time travel organization, and it's not following the time travelers, but one of the technicians tells us about the company and how the time travel works and about the different clients who go back in time and come back immediately. In the present time, they're just gone a few seconds, but they can stay either 3 days, 9 months, or 27 years in wherever they travel to. That is because those are the points in time they can return. There are further points in time a few seconds after you get there, but that doesn't make any sense, or it's 800 years, or what was it, some 20,000 years later, which also is not a possibility. So we get the technician telling us about the theory behind the time travel, the clients, some ideas of what they want to do in the past, and it also explains the time paradox, you know, the thing where you go back in the past and you change something in the present. And this is really well done, that is not possible because wherever you go, you start a new timeline. So whatever changes you make will not affect the timeline that the present is, or the starting point was. So there are also people who never return, and it's really interesting. I loved the idea and I really loved the ending. So I was all for the short story series, and I looked up, or rather I noticed it was a series when I finished it, and I saw that Kindle recommended the next in the series. So that was by R.F. Kuang, and it was Making Space. And so I thought, hey, I'm going to continue with the series. And Making Space was about a couple who wanted to have children but didn't manage. So trigger warnings for miscarriages and infertilization, I think it's called. Or is it insemination? Anyways, like artificial getting children. Anyways, the woman in the couple one day finds a boy lying in the forest on scorched ground, and he looks malnutritioned and mistreated and abused. And she's confused because there's no one around, so she takes the boy home with her. He's also wearing a gas mask. And at first her husband gets really upset with her that she just can't bring home a child, but he's an ER doctor, so they take care of him, initial treatments, and also the woman calls a social worker and asks what to do. And since they can't find any notice of him anywhere in the system, they decide they should stay with them for a while until they know what to do, so they foster him. And this is all about that. We find out why the boy is like he is, and things progress. And this story didn't really grab me as much. I think it had some good ideas and interesting ideas, but overall it was the topic of wanting to be a mother, not being able to be a mother, and finding a boy. Yeah, and also the social outcast that you are if you don't have children. And I was not into that topic, so not as enjoyable as the first one. Still continued with the next story because Kindle kindly advises you to buy the next book in a series once you finish one. And the next one was For a Limited Time Only by Peng Shepherd. Now, I have read The Book of M by Peng Shepherd and I really like the writing. For a Limited Time Only follows a man who is working sort of, I would say, in sales and marketing, but the company he's working for is in the future and he's working in the past. So time travel is part of his job, and he's, how do you do that in sales? He's managing accounts about different things. And sometimes it's just capitalism taking advantage of time travel. So they offer a competing company to the successful one a strategy to be successful. There is an example of a mood lamp, one which was successful in the timeline that progressed, but the company sent the young man back to negotiate with another company who had a similar idea, but of course that one didn't work out because the other one won. So sort of tricking time like that, or consumerism and marketing. But there's also a different level or layer to it, because when they're time traveling, they're not in their normal timeline. So it's like a business trip. And there are things happening to the family of the salesperson that really open up an interesting idea of how to deal with grief and time travel. And I'm not sure I like it. So I think it was very interesting. The writing was good, and also the ideas and the presentation I really enjoyed. But it's just a questionable way of dealing with grief where I'm not sure what I think about it, or I'm pretty sure I don't like the solution for procrastinating, or not procrastinating, prolonging grief in a way. That's what I think. Nevertheless, I progressed on to the next short story by an author I have not read anything before. It's A Visit to the Husband Archive by Kellyanne Bradley. I hope that's how you pronounce it. She wrote The Ministry of Time. And this one really reminded me of way back when I was younger and had issues with my mast cells. So a doctor recommended I get a boyfriend. Unfortunately, they didn't sell them in the pharmacy. We asked. But in this story, the young woman also has a fever and gets recommended to go to the archive and get herself a husband for a cure. So that's what she did. She's luckier than me. And also the cure helped. But we find her going to this archive where husbands are. And husbands apparently are any gender. So they don't know the word wife. And we get the story of her friend's husband who committed suicide pretty early on. So we already get a strange idea what husband actually means in this world and what's going on. And the story unfolds with some forms of gods roaming the country, and the woman barely has any knowledge and information or skills or IQ. She is a contract killer, but currently she works in the agricultural rotation because you need to feed yourselves. And all of that gets explained as we go along in a most interesting way. I really enjoyed the writing in this, and also the thought process of who are husbands and why they are in the archive and how they went there, what their job is and what they are doing. This story really has a lot to offer in the shortness of it. All the stories are between 30 and 50 pages. And I really, really liked that. So that was a good one. Went on to go for All Manner of Things Shall Be by Olivia Blake. And this one was fun in a strange way, because we find ourselves in Santa Monica in a flat share or house share where a lot of people, supernatural vampire-like creatures, have a time-traveling bus. And they share the house because they need to pay taxes and they think it's better to live together than trying to afford it on their own. And it's their story a little bit of where they go with the bus all day, what they do, how they live, where they come from a little bit. And it also has a little twist at the end. This one, I didn't really find a bigger picture in there. I just thought it was fun. Now, I thought I'd finish the last story as well by now, but it's about 5 o'clock. The sun is setting. I'm cooking, so making dinner, and I can't really focus anymore. So I am reading Kronos by P. Jelly Clark tonight. It's also about 50 pages. And this one I'm not completely sure about. I like P. Jelly Clark's story ideas. But so far, I have problems with his writing. I've read 2 short stories, no, I think 3. I read 2 novellas, and I always wanted to get into the Egyptian jinn novella kind of things. But I think I've read the first one twice already. And I just can't get into the writing, which is annoying because so many people I respect and have similar tastes to really recommend and love his writing. So I'm hoping this story will go better. But nevertheless, it's the last in the Time Traveler's Passport series, and I'm enjoying it. So what I did with that is a little bit cheat on my book goal or bookish goal of reading 100 books, because I really made progress like that, but I sabotaged my overall goal of averaging 300 pages per book. I have no regrets at all for either of those. Anyways, I have not continued listening to A Love Song for Ricky Wilde. I really need to do that next week. I also need to get back into exercising and my normal routines. Basically, I have to go back to work. I could do another week of not doing anything, but I feel my shoulder is aching more because I didn't do any physiotherapy, or my exercises for that. And I also didn't do anything else but run yesterday and just lie around. So I feel like I've lost muscle. I've been thinking about next year and what I've been doing, like reflecting on all the changes or things I tried this year. And I've started unsubscribing from newsletters because I can't keep up with them anymore. And some of those are repetitive or I'm not as interested in them anymore. And also others, I'm thinking of decreasing my intake of productivity or health content in any way. I have been consuming a lot of Stacey Sims this year, but it is frustrating me right now. So I think I got her message and I know what she is advertising, but it is annoying me, the repetition and the difficulty I have adapting to it and implementing all the things. Also, I have been rethinking consuming content if I want to reduce some of the type of content I'm consuming, because I feel under pressure at the moment of catching up all the time. I always feel under pressure of catching up, but I feel under pressure of catching up to certain things that I don't really care about or that put a different stress on me that I can't manage. Not completely done with all the rethinking about that. It has also something to do with where I want to go in 2026 and what I want to focus on. So doing changes or started changes. Anyways, let me know in comments what you have read this weekend, what you have been doing. I hope you enjoyed the content from the North Sea. It was really, really nice. I really enjoyed that day. And yeah, I have a month more of work and then I have 2 weeks off over the new year. I'm already looking forward to that. But first of all, we need to get through next week, which is going to be stressful at work again because we're going to have tests all day again and people coming in. So a lot of people again. So next weekend I will be probably peopled out again. I'll tell you then. Let me know in comments how you're doing and whatever you've been doing. And thank you all so much for watching and sticking around.